सर्वेषां नमस्कारः, सुप्रभातम्।
सुप्रभातं, नमस्कारः।
नमस्कारः, सुप्रभातम्।
नमस्कारः।
पठामि संस्कृतं नित्यम्।
पठामि संस्कृतं नित्यं।
वदामि संस्कृतं सदा।
वदामि संस्कृतं सदा।
ध्यायामि संस्कृतं सम्यक्।
ध्यायामि संस्कृतं सम्यक्।
वन्दे संस्कृतमातरम्।
वन्दे संस्कृतमातरम्।
संस्कृतस्य प्रसाराय
संस्कृतस्य प्रसाराय
नैजं सर्वं ददाम्यहम्।
नैजं सर्वं ददाम्यहम्।
संस्कृतस्य सदा भक्तो
संस्कृतस्य सदा भक्तो
वन्दे संस्कृतमातरम्।
वन्दे संस्कृतमातरम्।
संस्कृतस्य कृते जीवन्
संस्कृतस्य कृते जीवन्
संस्कृतस्य कृते यजन्
संस्कृतस्य कृते यजन्
आत्मानमाहुतं मन्ये
आत्मानमाहुतं मन्ये
वन्दे संस्कृतमातरम्।
वन्दे संस्कृतमातरम्।
वन्दे संस्कृतमातरम्।
वन्दे संस्कृतमातरम्।
सम्यक्। गतवर्गे वयं भजगोविन्दस्य विषये एक श्लोकं स्वीकृत्य किञ्चित् दृष्टवन्तः। तत्र भिन्न भिन्न रीत्या श्लोकाः सन्ति। अतः अद्य इतोपि एकं पश्यामः। रेखा भगिनी पृष्टवती खलु, सा एतदिच्छति इति, पुनरपि जननं पुनरपि मरणम्। आम् आम्, तद् अद्य किञ्चित् पश्यामः, अनन्तरम् अग्रे चरामः। एतद् वयं पूर्वं दृष्टवन्तः। अङ्गं गलितं फलितं मुण्डं दशनविहीनं जातं तुण्डं वृद्धो याति गृहीत्वा दण्डं तदपि न मुञ्चत् याशापिण्डं तदपि न मुञ्चत् याशापिण्डं भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि नहि रक्षति डुक्रिङ्करणे नहि नहि रक्षति डुक्रिङ्करणे। एतद् एव प्रथमश्लोकं। सामान्यं भजगोविन्दं कथम् आसीत् इत्युक्ते, आदिशङ्कर भगवत्पादः अस्ति खलु, सः 5 श्लोकान् यावत् उक्तवान्। तेन सः तस्य शिष्याः अपि आसन्, ते अपि तत्र भिन्न भिन्न श्लोकान् उक्तवन्तः। अतः मिलित्वा सम्पूर्णं स्वीकृत्य वयं भजगोविन्दम् इति सामान्यं वदामः। तर्हि भजगोविन्दम् इत्युक्ते एक श्लोकः न, एतत् सर्वं मिलित्वा एव वयं भजगोविन्दम् इति सामान्यं वदामः। अतः तत्र प्रथमश्लोकं यद् आदिशङ्करेण उक्तं तदेव भजगोविन्दं भजगोविन्दम् इति प्रारम्भः भवति। अतः तादृशप्रारम्भः इति कारणात् तत् श्लोकमेव इदानीं भजगोविन्दम् इति वदामः एकनिमिषं मम स्क्रीन् न दृश्यते खलु इदानीं दृश्यते वा मम स्क्रीन्
आम् आम्
सम्यक् अतः भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दम् इत्युक्ते भगवान् कृष्णः गां विन्दति इति गोविन्दः इति वदामः go basically has many different meanings. Go on one side can mean earth, bhumi. So gam vindati iti govindah, the one who protected the entire bhumi loka was called as Govinda. But as we all usually know, Govinda would mean Lord Krishna, right? So when did Krishna protect earth? So that will be our immediate question. So did Krishna protect earth? So the concept here is this name was first given to Bhagavan Krishna when I'm not able to see my screen. I don't know why. This name was given to Bhagavan Krishna when he took the Varaha Avatara. It was not really the first time that he got during the Krishna Avatara. It was during the Varaha Avatara. So what happened in the Varaha Avatara? He lifted the Bhumi Mata. The Hiranyaksha Asura had taken the entire Bhumi and hidden it into the low lokas, which was filled with water, Rasatala Loka. He actually went and placed the Bhumi there. So the way scientists today explain it is that, the magnetic stability of the earth went for a toss at that time, because of which she could not stand there at that point of time, and then she was pulled down. So Varaha Avatara re-established, what was there earlier and placed her there. In fact, the very interesting thing is in Varaha Avatara, if we see, you can see the Bhu-Kola representation in many temples. Even the ancient temples will have Bhumi represented as a Gola. But after that, we had a lot of discussion whether it is, a flat earth or this or that. That is still going on. But the earlier depictions are very interesting to see that it was a Kola Rupa. Bhu-Kola was represented in Varaha Avatara. So because Bhagavan protected earth during the Varaha Avatara, he got the name as Govinda. So when he protects earth, it means he protected each one of us who is inside the earth, right? So he is our protector, therefore he is Govinda. So here Adi Shankara says, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. Sing the praises of the Bhagavan who actually protected you. Govindam Bhaja Mooda Mate. Mate, his mind. Adi Shankara tells as if he's telling himself, he's scolding himself so that he can teach a lesson to everybody. He says, Govindam Bhaja Mooda Mate. What am I doing without telling the names of Bhagavan? So, hey, Mooda Mate, please repeat Govinda's name. So that is a beautiful phrase, how it starts.
So, Pravina, Govindamna protector of earth and channel. So, go, you said, is protecting.
Gam
Bhumi.
Gona Bhumi. Gam Vindati iti Govindaha. Gam is earth.
Vindati is protection. Oh, go is Bhumi. Okay.
Go is even cow, no, Guru.
Yeah,
go.
I'm just getting there. There. So go actually has 15 different meanings. One of the meaning is earth. One more meaning is sense organs, controller of sense organs. So Bhagavan, who is the controller of sense organs, is called as Govinda also. So here, the way we could understand that is when all our sense organs are going in its own, whims and fancies. Adi Shankaracharya is saying, hey, Govinda, you are the one who can control my senses. So help me sing your praise. Therefore, Gam Vindati iti Govinda. The controller of senses, Adi Shankara is requesting him to control his senses so that he will be encouraged to recite his names. That's the beauty that is here. So Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja, Mudamate, Govinda, Govinda. Please control my senses, channelize it in such a way that I will repeat your names. Okay. Yet another meaning of go could be cows, as Anubhagini rightly said. So when did that happen? That happened in the Krishna Avatara. So when Bhagavan Krishna actually lifted the mountain, Govardhana Parvata. So why did he have to do that? Because Indra was pouring rains, because he was upset that he was not prayed to, but everybody else were, the Govardhana Giri was offered pujas because Krishna said that. Because Indra was upset, he showered very, very heavy rain. Now, what did Krishna do? He didn't want to hurt Indra. Indra was, after all, his brother in one of the earlier avatars when he was a Vamana avatar. So he wanted to protect Indra, but just help him get rid of his ego. So he decided to just teach him a lesson, like ego is not good for you. Therefore, he decided to lift the mountain. He was a little kid, 7 years old, but then he lifted the mountain. And how he lifted the mountain is a very, very interesting thing here. Possibly in one of the Jnana Nidhis, you all can do this as a skit. Usually when we look at all the photos that's available on the net, we feel like the whole mountain is lifted by the child, with a finger and all that. But Krishna was not just thinking of protecting them from the rains. He did not want their lifestyle to change. He wanted business as usual to continue. So he wanted to feed the cows, the calves. So he wanted all the plants, fruits, everything to be available to them. He wanted water to be available at any point of time. He wanted shelter also to be available. So Narada Maharishi says that, Bhagavan actually lifted the Govardhana, turned it upside down. He did a U-turn of that and then lifted it. So it actually is not like a V. It is an inverted V. It's like the sharp part of the mountain is lower and it is like an umbrella which he lifted. So it looked like a lotus essence. So Bhagavan lifted it so that all the plants, trees, fruits were available at a easily reachable height for the cows and the calves. And the water was also available. And there were many caves inside that mountain. So people actually went inside and started dwelling there so that none of their regular routines had to be changed. And kids inside started playing as if nothing was changing. Bhagavan was protecting shelter to everybody at that point of time. So he took care of every need, not just for an hour or two, but for 7 full days, holding the mountain upside down. So Gam Vindati, he protected all the cows and calves and, all of us who live in the Bhumi.
But generally, when we have seen pictures of this Govardhana Giridhara, அது நார்மலா தான் இருக்கும். Pictures.
Only when we read the scripture in detail, we get this anubhava. So it is a very, very interesting anubhava.
Guru,
so
we,
yes.
As a family, we go there and we pray, and it's called Giraji, that place. It's called Giraji. And you do puja for the Parvat, and like you do Girivalam
Parikrama, right? Yeah.
Parikrama. So we used to do the Parikrama of the entire mountain.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So Govardhana is like one of the favorite things of Krishna, Govardhana Leela. So he protected the cows, calves, people, everybody there as if nothing was changed. And after that, Indra feels really bad. Like, how did I even attempt all these things? So he wants to come and apologize, for his ego to Bhagavan. And Kamadhenu, the divine cow, she was so touched by this whole episode, how Krishna is taken care of all the cows and calves, because she's the divine cow, right? So she comes and she does a Govinda Pattabhisheka to Krishna. She says, you are Govinda, ho Bhagavan. You have protected all the go here. All the cattle have been protected by you, and you have given them life in spite of Indra's anger. So you are our Indra. Indra means a leader, the head, So a king can be called as Indra. In fact, if we look at the Vedas, different places where Indra is used would actually be representing a different person. It's like saying the king, the leader. It's a very general word which is used subjectively depending on context. So, so she says, "You are our Indra," and then she does a Govinda Pattabhisheka to Bhagavan Krishna. So from that time, Krishna is known as Govinda. And that becomes his really, really pet name in Bhagavatam, because everybody associate him to being Gosaka, a friend of cows, a friend of calves, so easily accessible, available to us, standing there holding the mountain for 7 days just because we all have to eat and sleep properly. So everybody started addressing Krishna as Govinda. So from Varaha Purana all the way to the Krishna Avatara, Bhagavan has the name Govinda. So when we go to Tirupati, Tirumala, we call him as Govinda, right? So he is the protector of the Bhumi. The Varaha Bhagavan was the first person to actually start residing in that Tirumala hills. So that Kshetra is actually Varaha Bhagavan's. That's why you call it as Govinda, Govinda when you actually climb it. After that, Srinivasa Bhagavan came there and Varaha Bhagavan gave that place. Okay, you can also reside here. So Srinivasa Bhagavan is a Murti who came after Varaha Murti. So we always recite Govinda when we go to Tirumala. So a lot of these very, very interesting points, we can remember when we recite Bhaja Govindam. When you contemplate on Bhagavan Govinda, we can remember Govinda, 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 all the way from Varaha Avatara to Krishna Avatara to Tirumala, where he is still present now. Right? So Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja, Moodamate, Samprapte, Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati, Dukrin Karane. So this entire thing, right, the Bhaja Govindam was recited by Adi Shankara because he wanted to explain about the importance of human birth to people. It is such a rare thing that you got this human birth, and wasting it is just not acceptable, because Mahata Punya Panyena, the way the scriptures describe this human birth is, Raji will be able to relate to it. You trade stocks. So you give one and get something in return. So, sometimes we trade a lot of things in order to get something in return. So we might sell some stocks, just to buy a few stocks of the other thing. So what happens in the process is you think it's really, really valuable in order to trade and get this in turn, right? So what our Shastra says, Mahata Punya Panyena. You might have earned some good deeds, by doing certain good activities. So you go to a temple, you get some points. You do some charity, you get some points. So a lot of such things are there. But we also do a lot of negatives. We think we go to a temple, on the way we stamp a few insects, they die. We think we offer prasad to Bhagavan, but in the process of preparation itself, some insects or some things actually we hurt. So many things happen, because of which, there is always a constant punya papa, which keeps growing on simultaneously. Now what Shastra says, Mahata Punya Panne, you trade a lot of punya and then get one human birth. So this human birth is not just, few points on the credit card, but it's like, huge accumulation over several janmas, which you trade in order to get a human birth. So we have to understand the purpose of the existence of this human birth. So that vairagya, viragasya bhavaha vairagyaha iti uchyate, that vairagya, that I will not waste this birth on unnecessary things, which does not help me in getting the main purpose. It's like a student preparing for university exams, or it's like, when we have a deadline, how focused we are in order to get the deliverables. So like that, the purpose of the human birth is to ensure that we don't get into this repeated cycles of births and deaths. So we should not forget that. And therefore, Bhaja Govindam is a song which is created to give a lot of virakti. It is like all these are worthless, all those are worthless. So Adi Shankara Bhagavad will keep saying that, he will basically hammer us with the thought that all these are transcendental. It's like not eternal. All these are fleeting in nature. So we'll have to look at the ultimate purpose of our life, which is understanding ourselves, understanding the Parabrahma Tattva, and ensuring that, we don't get carried away by the mohas, and we work on the most important thing. So that is the main essence of Bhaja Govindam. In fact, Bhaja Govindam, the original name of it is called Moha Muddara. It is in order to get rid of all the moha that Adi Shankaraji authored this, hammering the delusion. So that is the basic meaning of Bhaja Govindam itself. So that is why he starts by saying Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. So keep repeating this song. In fact, this song will come after every song of Bhaja Govindam. So that is the kind of importance that's there here. So Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. Samprapte sannihite kale nahi nahi rakshati dukrin karane. Dukrin karane, I think I told the previous session also. It refers to the grammar. So grammar and all is not going to save our Atma. This birth of yours, you can learn grammar to understand the nitty-gritties, but not while you are, very close to your end date. So he's addressing the person who's there, saying that,
at least some of us will be happy to hear that. The way we are struggling with it.
So our purpose of this life is to ensure that, we don't get carried away with all these negative things. We have to remember to recite Bhagavan, Bhaja. We have to worship him. It can also mean seva. Many have interpreted Bhaja Govindam as like doing seva to people. So basically devotion, loving devotion to Bhagavan. So yeah. We'll go on to the second Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Iha samsare bahudukstare, kripaya pare pahi murare. This is yet another very, very beautiful sloka. In some versions, this will be the 21st. In some, it will be the 22nd sloka. There is a lot of, a small discrepancy, not a lot of discrepancy, but small discrepancy is there. So here he says, all of us have been born here. So what happens when we are born here is punarapi jananam. We are born. Punaha api. What does that mean?
Again.
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 So punarapi. So again and again. Api is also right. You're born
Also.
again also. So again and again. So for a repeated thing, you say punarapi. Jananam.
Birth.
Exactly. So saha jananam praptavan, janmam praptavan. So we are born. Punarapi jananam. Punarapi maranam.
Death. Followed by death.
So,
cycle of birth and death.
Exactly. Jananam, maranam. So we are born, we die again. After that, what happens? We are born again. After that, we die again. So this cycle of birth and death and birth and death is something like, sunrise and sunset. It's like the waves which keep coming and going and coming and going, which keeps repeating all the time. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. And then what happens? Punanapi janani jatare shayanam. After that, again, we go and rest in our mother's tummy. So jananyaha, in our mother's womb, we are actually sleeping again. We are there.
So Jatare is the womb, Guru. Jatare, the word Jatare.
Yeah, the belly, the womb of the mother.
Okay.
So, in fact, Jataragni is something which refers to the fire in our stomach, the digestive fire. That is the Jataragni. Jatare Vidyamana Agni Jataragni. So, Jatare Shayanam is like sleeping in the mother's womb. So
there's
again,
no other word for womb. I mean,
Garbha, there are many things.
Garbha.
Garbhas, there are many words.
Garbhagraha.
Garbhagraha. Many things are there.
Yeah.
So, in fact, there is a Upanishad called Garbhopanishad itself, which speaks about all the details of, conception to delivery. So, the growth of the child, everything, Garbhopanishad. Okay. So, Punarapi Janani Jatare Shayanam. So, we start, resting in the mother's womb again. And Iha Samsare. Iha Samsare. Samsare here is like, he's referring to this Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam as a samsara, these repeated cycles of the samsara, Bahu Dustare. It is like, very, very difficult. It is all dukkha kara. It is not like the pleasurable thing that we think of, We might have fleeting happiness here and there because of some of the punya karmas that we have done. But it is very, very difficult to cross. It is not easy. It is like a mighty ocean. Kripaya pare, Bhagavan has to have so much of compassion towards us. Pahi. Pahi is protect. Hey, Murare, please, Pahi. Bhagavan Murari, you have to protect us. Because this is a very, very complicated task, to come out of the samsara sagara. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Why is he referring to jananyaha jatare shayanam? Is because the scriptures say that the child who is there in the womb, right? We think the child is happily sleeping there while the mother is the one who undergoes labor pain, right? But Shastras say the child undergoes a lot more pain than the mother. So during the delivery, the child also suffers. So Jatare Shayanam, you are sleeping, but then what are you getting into? Dukkha. You are getting into dukkha at, very soon. So it is like, again, this cycle is going to repeat. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna says, Kshine punye madhyalokam vishanti iti. Like, all of us do a lot of punyas, okay? We can understand it in our regular life itself so that we can connect to what is mentioned. Now, think about it. Our travel is started, we do some shopping, we do a lot of things, and then accrue points on our credit card, right? So with every small purchase, people are actually stingy to give good points, but still we manage to gather so many points over a period of time that they say that, okay, you will get a flight ticket. When you accrue these points, you can redeem it to a flight ticket. So we very happily accrue some of the points or most of the points for a flight ticket and decide to travel. There is a 5-star hotel accommodation for which also we can redeem some points, assume. Okay. So we use our points and then redeem our stay to an extent. But then the points that's available is sufficient only for 2 days of stay. We want to stay for a week or something. So what do? Either we have to, decide to pay, otherwise they're going to chuck us out of the hotel, right? Now, this is a similar situation which happens in Swargaloka, says Bhagavan Krishna. So he says, you collect all your punya points, okay, over janmas and janmas and janmas. And then you buy a ticket to Swarga. You go there. And then your points are now getting exhausted. Every single day you stay in Swarga, your points are going to get wiped off. And then what happens? Kshine punye madhyalokam vishanti. It's like, when your punyas are exhausted, they throw you out of the Swarga, you come to the Martya Loka, you come back to this Loka, says Krishna. So it is like, for that we are struggling so much. So the idea is not to get points and go to Swarga. The idea is never visit this, Brahmanda, go beyond it, surrender to Bhagavan and get mukti beyond all this, is the essence of the whole. Amazing, right?
I thought once you reach Swarga, you're done. It's only that first step which is difficult. And Swarga, Urvadi Paitona, it's one-way ticket to heaven is what I was thinking.
No. That is not the thing. It is like this, okay? It is like you have a Brahmanda, okay? So you have Mritya Loka, which is our Loka, which is in the middle. On top of it, you have 6 lokas. Buhu is our Loka. Buvaha, Suvaha. Suvaha is the Swarga Loka where the Devas stay. Mahaha is where all the Maharishis stay. Janaha, the Jnanis. Satya Loka is Brahma's Loka. After that, you have the Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasa Atala, Mahatala, Patala. All these are, some satisfy some of our desires, In fact, there is a world to just satisfy desires. There is a world to satisfy lust. There are so many things like that also that's mentioned, okay? So all those are there. Now, what happens is these are like, changing depending on our points. This time we can stay there. The next trip we can stay somewhere else. Later on, we can move to, a budget accommodation. Then we can go to a 5-star accommodation. During some trips, we get pathetic, lousy stay. All that is possible. You keep going around everywhere. So this entire Brahmanda is recreated over and over again. Just that the time is huge. So we speak about the age of sun today. We speak about, even sun has only sufficient fuel that it will be there for possibly billions of years, but still it has an end date. Similarly, this Bhumi also comes with an end date. It's only there for a period of time. After that, it's not going to be there. After that, everything will have a pause, which we call as the Pralaya Kala. And then everything will get into its form. Basically, it's like, you can understand it as a peacock having its feathers, okay? So when the feathers are opened, it is called as the Srishti. When the feathers are folded, it all becomes small, right? Subtle things. So that is called as a Pralaya time. So Bhagavan basically expands the creation, which is the Srishti, contracts the creation, which is the Pralaya time. And that time zone is huge. So wherever we belong to, starting from the Satya Loka, all the way to the Patala, we will be born again and again, depending on our karmas, which we've accumulated. And this cycle continues. That is what Adi Shankara says here, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani Jatare Sayanam. And to what number is it? It is like greater than the number of sand particles in the ocean. The number of births we've taken is a lot more than the number of sand particles that is there in the ocean. So it is again and again and again. We are so fatigued, exhausted. So we have to surrender to Bhagavan, go out of this Brahmanda. Only then we don't have to come back here. So that is the concept. Okay.
So this is a long journey for all of us. We don't know how long.
We can surrender right away and make the journey short. That is also told by Krishna. So, Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja, he says, in Bhagavad Gita. So this we don't need. Okay.
I think that process has started now from.
Yeah. So where are we? Yeah, Punarapi Jananam. So, Iha Samsare Bahudustare Kripaya Pare Pahi Murare. So Murari, Bhagavan Krishna has another name of Murari, where he actually killed the demon by name Mura. Mura had asked, Mura is actually Kashyapa Maharishi's son. So he's like a grandson of Brahma. So he will be on a tapasya to Brahma and say that, whenever somebody comes for a war, if they touch me, then, they should find their end and all that. So Bhagavan will actually stay somewhere. He will, Mura will actually go and capture all the devas. He will even go to Yamadharmas and then, capture Yama. So Vishnu will say, ask him to come and meet me, or tell him that I'm on a hideout and things like that. So he will think that Bhagavan is on a hideout and then come and challenge him and then end up ruining his own life. So it is basically a person who is filled with this kind of a moga, not even knowing his self, the clarity for that person is given by Bhagavan. Remember, we said Bhagavan is the controller of senses. So channelize my thought in the right direction to understand the consequence of this birth and death, thereby giving clarity to where I actually have to go. So kripaya pare, have compassion on me. Pahi murare, give me protection. So I will recite it. If one of you want to repeat after me, you can. Punarapi jananam.
Punarapi jananam.
Punarapi maranam.
Punarapi maranam.
Punarapi janani.
Punarapi janani.
Jatare shayanam.
Jatare shayanam.
Punarapi jananam. Punarapi maranam.
Punarapi jananam. Punarapi maranam.
Punarapi janani. Jatare shayanam.
Punarapi janani. Jatare shayanam.
Iha samsare bahudustare.
Iha sansare bahudustare.
Kripaya pare pahi murare.
Kripaya pare pahi murare.
Iha samsare bahudustare.
Iha sansare bahudustare.
Kripaya pare pahi murare.
Kripaya pahi pare murare.
Bhaja govindam, bhaja govindam.
Bhaj govindam, bhaj govindam.
Govindam bhaja mudhamate.
Govindam bhaj mudhamate.
Bhaja govindam, bhaja govindam. Govindam bhaja mudhamate.
Bhaj govindam, bhaj govindam. Govindam bhaj mudhamate.
Jai Shri Krishna. Okay, so let's just look into a little bit of Sandhi. So we learned that there are different forms of Sandhi and that we are looking into the Swara Sandhi. Okay, so Swara Sandhi, one of the things that we'll be learning today is called as the Savarna Dirgha Sandhi. Savarna means Samana Varna, similar Varnas. Dirgha, it can mean long ones also. So we have the Hrasva, Dirgha, Pluta, right? So Dirgha means long. Savarna, Dirgha, Sandhi. So what happens when we add two things which are identical, or one is small, one is big, or both are long vowels? So when they get added up, what actually happens is called as the Savarna, Dirgha, Sandhi. Now let's try to understand this. Vishnuhu Daityarihi iti prasiddhaha. Daityari. What is Daityari? We can look into the book later. Just try. Let's attempt to understand what is happening here. What is Daityari?
Daitya.
Who kills all the
Ari is
sins?
the enemy.
Very nice. So Daitya Arihi. So Ari basically means enemy. In the sloka that we just read, we learnt about Murari, right? Which is Muras Ari. Ari means enemy. So Hari is Bhagavan, Ari is enemy. That's why pronunciation in Sanskritam we should be very careful, So A-R-I, Ari is enemy. So here Daityarihi is actually Daitya Arihi, Daityarihi. So Daitya plus Arihi. Balakaha Vidyalayam Gacchati. We've been using Vidyalayam a lot. What do you think Vidyalayam is made of?
Vidya and Alayam.
Vidya plus Alayam.
Vidya plus Alayam. Vidya. It's not Vidya, it's Vidya plus Alayam. Vidyalayam. Very good. Gachami iti saha uktavan.
Gachami iti.
Gachami iti saha uktavan. Gachami iti. Gurupadeshaha Shraddhaya Shrotavyaha.
Guru plus Upadesha.
Upadeshaha.
Okay, I think I left one in between. Yeah.
Parichaya.
Guru plus Upadeshaha. Prior to that, Shivaha Parvatishaha iti uchyate.
Parvati plus Ishaha.
Parvati plus Ishaha. Parvati.
Ishaha.
Parvati plus Ishaha. Parvatishaha.
Guru, what is the meaning of Uchayate?
Uchyate is told that way. Thus it said, that it is said, you know.
Telling. Bolna.
Bolna.
Yeah, it said thus, like that, you know. Yeah. Vadurmika uttama asti.
Vadhu plus Urmika.
Vadhu plus Urmika. Vadhu plus Urmika. Very nice.
So Vadhu also will be Dirgha.
Vadhu.
And
Vadhu.
also.
No, Purvika is not.
Vadhu.
Vadhu. Vadhu. Urmika.
Vadhu.
Pitranasya.
Also is Dirgha. Vadhu plus Urmika. Urmika.
No,
Urmika.
is small.
No, it's given there. No, Urmika.
Urmika is Dirgha.
I didn't even guess. I went reading.
Yeah. We'll go into that. Okay. Pitranasya Pratyarpane Putraha Klesham Anubhavati. Pitranasya.
Pitra plus Anasya.
Now, when these kind of sentences are there, no, Ranasya is there. So, Nasya we know is actually just the Saptami Vibhakti of that. What is the actual word? We are going into Saptami Vibhakti, but what is the actual word? Pitra?
Rinam.
Pitra Rinam. So, that is the way we understand it. Now, when you look at each of these, let us understand what is happening here. Okay. So, my photo is a little weird today. I think the fold was there. Okay. So, when the first and the next word happen to be of the same kind, so a plus a or e plus e or u plus u, it is called as samana varnam, savarnam. So, savarna is what we call. And only for those things, this particular sandhi will be applicable, which is called as the Savarna Dirgha Sandhi. So here if we observe Daitya plus Arihi, that is what we got, right? Is Daitya Arihi. So what is the end here? Daitya, if you look at here, it is I plus A, correct? Yeah, I plus A is Ya.
Yes.
Therefore, the last ending of Daitya is here the first beginning of Arihi is A. Therefore, what is the sandhi here? It becomes A plus A, which is A. So it is because of the application of the Savarna Dirgha Sandhi. A plus A gives us A. So it is Daityarihi. You understand this? Daityarihi. Now, similarly, when two big A's are there, two Dirgha is also there, same result will be there. Here, Vidya, Alaya. Vidya, A is the ending alphabet. Alaya, A is the beginning alphabet. Now, A plus A also gives you A only. It is again the same Sandhi rule. So, Savarna Dirgha Sandhi. A plus A will give you A. A plus A will also give you A only. Okay. Gachami is E. Iti is E. So, Gachami iti. E plus E is E. Parvati Ishaha E plus E is again E. So both these, again, whether it is Hrasva or it is Dirgha, it gives you E only. Is this clear so far? Okay. Guru plus Upadeshaha. Similarly, U plus U. Guru Padeshaha. Vadu. Vadu. Now you are trying U plus U. Vadu plus Urmika. Vadurmika. U plus U is U. Again, Dirgham is there. Pitra Rinam. R plus R. Pitrinam. So R plus R is what we can understand. So here they have given us 4 different examples using both Hrasva and Dirgha. Both of all these actually end up with the Savarna Dirgha Sandhi as the result. So A, E, U, R, whether it is Hrasva or Dirgha, will give us the result like what we are seeing here. Is this clear? Is this concept clear? So you can grab your book for a minute. What we discussed just now is on page 39. You can work on the exercise in page 40 and the beginning of 41 you can try. If you want, we can discuss 41 in the next session as well. But you can do 40 and you can try 41. I was thinking of doing the katha today, but looks like
we have one more shlokam in lesson 2. If we finish that, we would have finished that part. I mean, not shlokam, subhashitam in the idoda extension angam palithamude adutha shlokam. Adutha subhashitam. Adha mudichitona, that segment will be over.
Danani, okay, we will do of that then. Actually, you know what? Sushi Bhagini is correct. I wanted to do the katha and this one today, Bhajagovindam plus this grammar part of it. Okay. And once I started the Bhajagovindam, I slightly got carried away with it. And, you know,
Sushi Bhagini is always correct.
Sushi Bhagini is like, okay, that's enough. Only 7 minutes I'm going to give you. Now come back to this. You know, something like that is required so that. but I think these are what adds a lot of flavor to what we are doing, right? So we will do the remaining in the next session. So. Sushi Bhagini, Mauno Vyakya Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam. Okay, so Astu. So let us go into this. Angam Kalitam Palitam Mundam Dashana Vihinam Jatam Tundam Vriddho Yati Grihitva Dandam Tadapina Munchatyasha Pindam. So we already saw this in the previous class, I think, right? Angam Galitam Asti, Mundam Palitam Asti, Tundam Dashavihinam Jatam, Vriddha Dandam Grihitva Yati, Tadapi Asha Pindam Na Munchati iti. So again, all these are mentioned to create the vairagyam in the mind of person. So your body is now not having sufficient strength. Your hair is turned white. All the teeth are already gone. You are holding a stick in the hand even to help yourself move. Even then the desires are not going. So when do you think our desires are going to get exhausted? So never is the right time to go and start worshipping Bhagavan. Start it right away, you know. So that is what he is driving the thought to. So the next Subhashitam. Dhanani jeevitam chaiva. One of you can
Dhanani jeevitam chaiva.
Pararte pragnya utsrujet.
Pararthe pragya utsrujet.
Dhanani jeevitam chaiva.
Dhanani. You finish.
Dhanani jeevitam chaiva. Pararte pragnya utsrujet.
Dhanani jeevitam chaiva. Pararthe pragya utsrujet.
Sannimitte varam tyago.
Sannimitte varam tyago.
Vinashe niyate sati.
Vinashe niyate sati.
Sannimitte varam tyago. Vinashe niyate sati.
Sannimitte varam tyago. Vinashe niyate sati.
I'll recite the whole thing. Dhanani jeevitam chaiva. Pararthe pragnya utsrujet. Sannimitte varam tyago. Vinashe niyate sati.
Dhanani jeevitam chaiva. Pararthe pragya utsrujet. Sannimitte varam tyago. Vinashe niyate sati.
Uttamam. Pada vibhagah pashyamaha. Dhanani jeevitam chaiva is cha eva. Pararte pragnyah utsrujet. Sannimitte varam tyago will become tyagah. Vinashe niyate sati. Pretty straightforward. We'll see Anvaya in a few minutes. Pragnyah. Pragnyah ityukte buddhihi yasya asti. Buddhiman iti artah. Dhanani jeevitam cha. Dhanam vayam janimaha. Dhanam. Jeevanam life. Atah tasya sampati tasya jeevanam sarvam api iti artah. Dhanani jeevitam cha. Parate anyesham krite. Parahitartam. Lokahitartam. Para anyaha. Parahitartam lokahitartam. Utsrujet ityukte dadatu tyagam karotu tesham krite arpayatu. Vinashe niyate sati. Asmakam kalah tu कियत् पर्यन्तं भवति इति न जानीमः खलु. अतः धनस्य जीवनस्य नाशः निश्चितः. धनमपि गच्छति, जीवमपि यदा कदापि गच्छति एव खलु. अतः विनाशे नियते सति सन्निमित्ते त्यागः. सत्कारणाय विनियोगः. दानं. दानम् इत्युक्ते यत्र उपयोगः भवति, कारणं तत् भवति चेत् तत्र दानं करणीयम्. एवं वरं तदेव उचितम्. एवम् उचितम् इति अर्थः. तर्हि कः अर्थः? Idanam Anvayam Pashyamaha. Prajnaha Danani Jeevitam cha Parate Utsrujet. Vinashe Niyate Sati Sannimitte Tyagaha Eva Varam. So, Prajnaha Buddhiman Kimba Karoti Danani Jeevitam cha Parate Utsrujet. So, his life and all his properties, his money, everything, he will do dharma for others' benefit. Vinashe niyate sati, because anyway these are going to go off sometime, whether be it his life or be it the money we have. Anyway, we are going to, it's not permanent. It's anyway going to go off. So sannimitte tyagaha, so if it is for sat patra, if it's for a good cause, doing that is the right thing, right? So intelligent person will do dharma for a sat patra, be it the money or be it his own life. So that is the kind of tatparya that is given here. So let us see what is the tatparya mentioned in our book. Which page is that in? It is there in 32. So
Ravina, can you go to the previous slide 1 minute? The same one, previous slide. Yeah, no, the next one.
1 minute.
This one, yeah.
So a wise man must sacrifice his wealth and life for others, because sacrifice for a good cause is always better, since wealth and life are known to be transient in nature. Spashtam asti va? Astu. So this actually I want all of you to go into your respective teams as a homework and arrive from the sloka to the Anvaya. Basically, you remember we spoke about how we identify each of the words and how we group the words, and same Vachana, Linga, Vibhakti are grouped together, and then how we sequence it using the right questions. So the steps of how you arrived from the sloka to the Anvaya that you're seeing here is your Griha Karya, is your homework. So just get into two, I know all of you are in different study groups, right? So work on this with your study group, and in the next class, we can discuss the results of what either team has got. Okay. I wanted to do that as part of today's class, but we'll do that as homework and we'll discuss that in the next session. Is that fine? So I want to know the right questions. I want to know how we are arriving at the Anvaya. And the Anvaya can be slightly different from what you're seeing here. There is no rule that this is the only way. No, not really. So, but the rule of the thumb is the sequence. Kriya Padam will be at the end. Karta, Karma. So that is the general sequence. But if you are having some adjectives and other things, it can change positions. That's fine. Is this clear? Any questions?
Yes. Guru, you're basically saying we can rearrange it to give the same meaning. Rearrange sentence.
Yes, and also write the Tatparyam in Sanskritam. We should practice. Anvaya is basically something which comes with practice. So don't worry whether you're right or wrong. The check marks are always there. It is like a rider in mathematics. So we will get clarity about how we go about, which is very important, and take it forward. As I was telling you, this is like a 1 or 2 year process. Till you complete Siksha, the Anvaya Rachana will be there, and it will get more and more complicated as we progress. So it's a nice experience. So we will relish it. Yeah. Okay. So we will conclude with the final slokas for the day.
So the Tatparyam has to be written in Sanskrit. Yes.
Attempt it, na? Attempt it. English Tatparyam, they have given it here. Let's attempt it in Sanskritam. Make simple sentences and okay. कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैः बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि। अच्युताय नमः, अनन्ताय नमः, गोविन्दाय नमः। अच्युताय नमः, अनन्ताय नमः, गोविन्दाय नमः। अच्युताय नमः, अनन्ताय नमः, गोविन्दाय नमः। सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु। जय श्री